There is a very interesting phenomenon that I see with many patients who are suffering with constipation. First of all, constipation is one of the most self-misdiagnosed. I would use the word self-misdiagnosed disease. Now, usually people will come and say, Doctor, I'm having severe constipation. I don't know what to do. Can you please help me? And when I ask them, how often do you go to toilet? No, I go every day, but it's just that I don't feel satisfied. Now, this, if you're going every day, this is not constipation. Maybe, yes, there is room for improvement. But constipation is when you're not able to pass stool at least for 2 days or more than that. That is what is constipation. And the interesting phenomenon that I want to talk today is people have a lot of anxiety if they don't go to toilet first thing in the morning. Maybe they heard it from their parents or teachers or somebody who told them, if you don't get up and go first thing in the morning, something terrible is wrong with you and you have to be very careful. Now, the problem is when somebody tells, if you don't go first thing in the morning, something is wrong with you, that wrong thing, the mind can go to many things. They can go to, what is that wrong thing that is going on? So wrong thing can be, am I having some gut problem which could be terminal in nature? Is it some cancer? The mind goes haywire. The moment you hear the word wrong, that wrong has an infinite possibilities of self-destructive imaginations that could come there. So usually when I get such patients, I tell them, okay, if you don't go in the morning, it's okay. As long as you are able to pass the toilet on a regular basis, just be happy with that for now. And then we will think about the room for improvement. And what is happening, that anxiety that they didn't go to toilet, what happens is they end up taking laxatives. Sometimes they end up drinking more and more coffees, or they sit in the toilet for more than a usual time. Sometimes I know some people who sits in the toilet for more than 1.5 hours sitting with a newspaper or a mobile phone and think when it comes. And usually this sitting and straining or pushing for a very long period can lead to other problems that can be quite dangerous, I would say. So having this idea, I need to go every morning or first thing in the morning, and if I don't go, I will not respect myself, I will not accept myself, and I cannot approve of myself. This creates more problem than not going to the toilet itself. And maybe they will go later to that day. Maybe they go to the toilet in the evening, they go to the toilet in the noon. But yes, if they are able to go first thing in the morning, nothing as good as that. But otherwise, don't break your head with that. There are multiple methods that you can do to regulate it. So one of the things I tell them, if you don't go to the toilet in the morning, I ask them, so who told you that if you don't go toilet first thing in the morning, something is wrong? They'll say, I read it, my parents told me, or I have heard about this from a health blog or an influencer or something like that. I tell them, yes, going first thing in the morning is good, but that doesn't mean that your life and health is going to be graded according to that, or something is wrong, or your longevity is going to be dependent on that. Nothing like that. It's just good if you go first thing in the morning. Second thing, the problem that happens, some people have this fear, I'm going to travel for the next 8 to 9 hours, or maybe I don't have access to a good toilet later on. So if I don't have access to a good toilet, and if an urge comes, how am I going to handle that? This is another anxiety that they will be dealing with. In such situations, I tell them, okay, yes, you are having a very genuine concern, but how much are the possibilities that you will end up in such a position where you will have that urge to go and you are in struggle to do that? They'll be like saying 1 in 10 or 1 in 100% such a thing will happen. And usually if such a thing happens, do they have like a diarrhea kind of an urge? Usually when people have that diarrhea kind of an urge, they need to go immediately. They can't, maybe they might even poop in the pants or in their dress. If it is that kind of a disease, that's a different concept altogether. But usually if they are able to hold whenever the next availability of the toilet can happen, it can change. So first thing I tell them is, stop worrying about the fact that you're not going to the toilet first thing in the morning. Maybe you go in the middle of the day, or maybe you go post dinner, or maybe you go after your breakfast, or maybe you go after certain times. But just be gentle with yourself and accept that this is your current situation. Next thing I tell them is to help them to improve with their diet. Instead of being addicted to the idea that I have to go first thing in the morning, let us try to improve the diet first. Diet means I tell them to improve more fiber rich food, hydrate better, limit your sticky food, which is heavy with sugar, gluten, or things that are very heavy on mucus producing in nature. Now, when I say mucus producing in nature, things that produce high mucus, things that are like desserts, breads with heaviness, like one example is croissant. It is very tasty and heavy in nature. Those breads are very much in sugar, and it's quite buttery in nature. These things can make your life difficult if you're not adding enough fiber along with it. But if you're adding enough fiber along with it, then it's a different question altogether. So I always tell them, add more fiber, hydrate yourself very well, and then make sure you have enough movement in a day. Make sure you go for a gentle walk. And you see, let's imagine there is a bottle and something is stuck in the neck. What is the best way to eliminate? You just shake it quite well. Same way, many people, because of their sitting tendencies and they are not moving enough, this can also impact their bowel movements. Maybe it can get resistant in nature. So that's why walking is one of the most underrated laxatives. So when people are able to walk better, they are able to walk in a good, I'm not talking about brisk, like there is a borderline between running and walking fast. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a brisk walking where you breathe deeply. This will also enhance your peristaltic movement because of your deep breath, and because of your walking, the gravity pull will also help to enhance your peristaltic movement. And in Ayurveda, I don't recommend taking severe, some people are taking Triphala on a regular basis. I have also done a previous episode on constipation. So I tell them, in such conditions, unless you have a very temporary, sometimes people have constipation when they travel or there is a change of food, 1 or 2 days this could happen. Unless it's a very temporary, taking Triphala on a regular basis to improve your bowel movements, because there is a tendency you may not go to the toilet on a regular basis or on time that you wanted, this can lead to other complications. But please don't take this as a medical advice from me. Please consult with a practitioner. This is just for your understanding and information, so you are aware if you are addicted to laxatives or if there is a laxative abuse. But there are certain conditions where laxatives are very important, certain medical conditions. I highly recommend them. It's okay even if there are side effects of laxative, it's important that they use it in certain medical conditions. But the idea is, if you don't have any peculiar medical conditions, just by changing your diet, improving your hydration levels. And in Ayurveda, we talk about snigdha anulomanam. That is, when we are taking oily medications like ghee, or ghee infused with a very tincture of something which is laxative in nature, maybe even a drop of castor oil in it. There is this oil called Ghritam, called Sukumara Ghritam. It's a fantastic medication. So I recommend these kind of medications to take on a regular basis. So it doesn't work like a purgative or a strong laxative, but it slowly enhances your motility or your peristaltic movement. And a time will come when you don't need these medications. You have a natural way of going to the toilet. Because you improved your lifestyle, your bowel movements are also better. Sometimes stress can also lead to constipation. Sometimes not hydrating enough can lead to it. Sometimes change of food can lead to it. Sometimes certain medications can also lead to problems like constipation. Sometimes when people fall sick, they will have constipation. So at some point, all of us will go through this. And this is not, yes, there are multiple quotes like constipation is the mother of all disease. But I can tell you, if you are suffering with constipation anxiety, and that anxiety will do more problems than this mother of so-called disease called constipation, at some point it will go out. I have to tell them and make them feel calm. We will figure it out, but don't break your head that I didn't go to toilet. Yes, there is an uncomfortable feeling, but don't break yourself or go through a self-destructive thought pattern that this is not going well. So the moment you feel, oh, if I don't go to the toilet, I will not be able to forgive myself and all this, just remember, there's nothing like if you don't go to first thing in the morning, it's not the end of the world. We will figure out a way to it. I've seen some really healthy patients like athletes, and if you look at their vitals and all their parameters, they will look good. But yes, they don't go first thing in the morning. Sometimes they go like noon or even sometimes evening. But does that mean that is their healthiest version? Of course, going first thing in the morning, it's a good sign of emptying yourself so that you're ready for the new food to be ingested and absorbed for the right nutrients to come. But that doesn't mean that this is very dangerous or terrible. Slowly, we have to change our lifestyle. And maybe sometimes, people have a lot of travels in their work, and this can also lead to a lot of problems. So that's why it's okay if you're not going first thing in the morning, but don't beat yourself. But at the same time, work on your overall lifestyle and to make it better so that you are able to reach a stage where every morning you get up within the first 1 or 2 hours, you're able to go to the toilet. This makes things much easier. So, how to start with the first step is make sure you're walking enough, make sure you're hydrating enough, make sure you have enough fiber in your food, and look at your diet. See where all you can make some improvements. Look at which food is making you bloated, which food is, many of the conditions where I have not been able to give any right medication or give them the right. All I told them is keep a food journal and track what is making you feel how. Not now, maybe 2 days later. So when you keep tracking all the food that you're consuming, you're able to connect the dots. That itself will give you a lot of awareness of what food is helping me, what food is making me tired, sluggish, constipated, so or make me feel very bloated. So this makes a huge difference in understanding your gut health. So don't break yourself because you're not going first thing in the morning. And there are methods where you can reverse these conditions. Sometimes people might have this feeling I'm not going to the toilet completely, but we can turn it around slowly. And having a opinion or a consultation with a medical practitioner will have a huge role in helping you and reverse this condition.